Once again, we'd like to welcome you in today's edition of The Morning Call. Well, Malians are awaiting the formation of a new government. This follows the resignation of Prime Minister Soumeylou Boubèye Maïga last week on Thursday, amid growing criticism over insecurity in the country. He stepped down 4 weeks after a massacre of more than 150 Fulani herdsmen in the central part of the country. The Prime Minister did not, however, give reasons behind his departure, but sources indicate legislators had discussed earlier last week a possible motion of no confidence in the government, primarily because of the recent massacre, as well as failure to disarm militia groups in the country. Despite his resignation, the violence still continues, Hanan.
That's right, Lynette. Attacks in the central and northern parts of the country are almost daily in recent weeks. A Malian army camp was attacked yesterday in the town of Guire, about 400 kilometers from Bamako, towards the Mauritanian border, by armed men not clearly identified at the moment. 11 soldiers were killed.
We seem to have gotten hold of our correspondent in Mali, Alou Diawara, to give us information about what's happening in the country. Bonjour, Ali. Alou, excusez-moi.
Bonjour.
Vous allez bien ce matin?
Oui, ça va.
I'm very well, thank you.
So Mali is waiting for a new government after the Prime Minister resigned last week on Thursday. But what should we be expecting from this new executive?
The future government will be a mission government, to use the expression used in political circles here in Mali. This is the mission of managing emergencies, including growing insecurity and resolving the school crisis. From 1 January to 31 March, 440 Malian and foreign civilians and 150 soldiers were killed as a result of attacks in the country. Since December, education has been disrupted by repetitive strikes. The white year is almost technically consumed, according to observers. But perhaps a diligent action by the future government could help to save schools. Another task of the executive will be to accelerate the implementation of stalled agreement for peace and reconciliation. To achieve this, the team must work on constitutional reform necessary to implement certain provisions of the agreement signed in 2015 between the government and armed groups in the north. This is a sensitive issue because President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta was forced to withdraw his first draft of constitutional reform in 2017 under pressure from the opposition and a part of civil society that did not want it all and organized huge demonstrations. There are also other expectations, such as reducing the cost of living in particular. So last week, the president initiated talks with various parts of the Malian society, before the resignation of the prime minister. Should we see this as the first steps towards a government of national unity? Government of national unity, or government of openness, or government of consensus, it can be called as it wishes when the list of members of government is revealed, but everything suggests that it is a government that represents the political sensitivities of the country. The president has in turn consulted the presidential majority and the opposition with the twofold objective of finding a consensus prime minister and setting up a system in which everyone can identify. What seems likely is that the opposition will be represented on the new team, as this is the first time the president has consulted his political opponents before forming a government since he was elected in 2013 and re-elected in 2018. I was talking to you about the draft constitutional reform. The president is aware that without a broad consensus, this process cannot be completed. Relatives of the head of state say he is ready to make everything possible to compromise to bring about this reform for which the United Nations is already getting impatient. The least we can say is that we are moving towards a consensus government in which all political parties will recognize themselves.
And Alou, the attacks are still ongoing, especially in the northern parts of the country. And just this Sunday, there was another attack, an army camp in the town of Gire. What can you tell us about this latest attack, Alou?
So this is a complex attack, in the words of the Malian army. The army camp in Gire was attacked by armed men and vehicles. 11 soldiers killed and about 15 assailants, according to the army. Several military vehicles were burned. Officials call this attack a terrorist attack, even though there is no claim yet. This is not the first incursion of suspected terrorists into the area. In October 2017, Brigade Commander Gire, the same locality where the attack occurred, was kidnapped. It is still in the hands of his captors and has since been shown in videos posted by jihadist groups. This area has the particularity of being close to the Ouagadougou forest. The presence of jihadists in this forest is often reported. Sweeps are carried out from time to time. This latest development is a reminder that security will be the central element of government policy. It should be recalled that the growing insecurity was the main reason that led opposition members of the majority and opposition to try to overthrow the government by a motion of censure on Friday. But a few hours before that vote, the Prime Minister and his government resigned. Under these conditions, the new government will have an obligation to achieve results.
You're absolutely right, Alou. Security will be the main issue for this new government. And you're waiting to see when this new government is going to be unveiled. Thank you very much, Alou, for giving us all these details. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Africanews correspondent in Mali, giving us all the details regarding what is happening in the country. And he's speaking with us from the capital, Bamako.